Welcome to The Explainer, where we take complex topics and break them down, using the source material. Today, we're jumping into a big one. What's the role of the state through the lens of Islamic economics?
All right, let's just get right to it. This is a huge question, right? What is a government's job in the economy? I mean, this is one of those questions that every single society has to tackle. And the answer, well, it pretty much shapes everything about our lives.
You know, when you boil it all down, this is what it's about. The goal is to create rules that let a society not just survive, but thrive, and do it fairly. And look, whether you're looking at a Western model or an Islamic one, that basic aim is kind of the same. But, and this is a big but, the philosophy, the why behind how you get there, that's where things get really, really different.
Okay, so let's start with what everyone kind of agrees on. Before we get into what makes this system unique, let's find the common ground. Turns out, there's a lot of overlap in the basic jobs of a government, no matter the system.
And here they are. Think of these 7 things as the basic instruction manual for running a modern economy. You've got the real foundational stuff, like creating laws and then actually enforcing them. Then there's providing things we all need, like roads, handling big economic levers, negotiating with other countries, and of course having some kind of social safety net. This is the stuff most systems agree on.
I love this quote from the source material because it's so true, right? An economy without rules is basically a jungle. Think about it. Why would you ever save money or start a business if you thought someone could just come along and take it all away? You wouldn't. This framework, it's the bedrock. Without it, there's no trust. And without trust, there's no economy. Simple as that.
All right, so that's the common ground, the what governments do. But now we're getting to the really fascinating part, the why. And this is where we see a huge philosophical shift. The Islamic framework starts from a completely different place.
So check this out. In a typical mixed market, the government is kind of like a referee, right? It's trying to balance the needs of individuals against the needs of the whole group. But in the Islamic system, the goal isn't just balance, it's fulfillment. The state's entire purpose is to achieve the objectives of Sharia. Now, Sharia is essentially the moral and legal code of Islam, and its goals are big ones. Justice, preserving life, protecting wealth for everyone. It's a totally different starting point.
And this idea of being a trustee is, well, it's everything. It's the core of the whole thing. The government doesn't own the country's resources. It's a steward, managing everything on behalf of the people. And it has to follow a very specific set of rules from the Quran and the Sunnah, the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad. So it's not a king, it's a manager with a very clear and sacred job description.
So what this creates is a fundamentally rule-based system. The government's legitimacy, its whole reason for being, is tied directly to how well it follows these rules. It's not supposed to be making stuff up as it goes along. Its job is to supervise and make sure society is living by this established moral and legal code.
So, in an ideal world, what does that look like? Well, according to this view, if people are already doing the right thing, if they're following the rules on their own, then the state can just step back. The government's role actually becomes much smaller. The ultimate goal is a society so ethical that it barely needs governing. But let's be real. We all know people aren't perfect, and the system knows that too.
And that's exactly when the state has to step in. Government intervention isn't seen as the default setting, it's a correction. When people stray from the path, when injustice starts to creep in, it's the government's duty to get more involved and pull things back on track.
Okay, so that's the high-level philosophy. It sounds good in theory, but how does it actually work in practice? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of how this all translates into actual economic policy.
This table lays it out so clearly. Take government borrowing. Instead of selling bonds that pay interest, which is a major prohibition, the government would use things like risk-sharing instruments. It's more like a partnership, where everyone shares in the actual profits or losses. And look at taxes. The focus broadens from just what you earn to also include the wealth you're holding on to.
And for that wealth tax, the source material suggests a number, 2.5%. Now, the idea here isn't just to raise money. It's a mechanism to discourage people from just hoarding huge piles of cash or assets. It encourages you to invest it, to put it to work in the economy, which in theory helps everybody. It's all about keeping capital flowing.
This next one is huge, especially today. Think about natural resources, oil, gas, minerals. In this view, they don't belong to the government. They don't even really belong to us right now. They're a trust for all of humankind, for all generations. That completely changes the game. The government's job isn't to sell it off as fast as possible, but to preserve it for our kids and their kids after them. So what's the end game here? If you add all of these pieces together,
you start to realize that the scoreboard for economic success looks totally different. It's not just about GDP.
And this really is the key takeaway. Economic justice isn't some add-on. It's not a patch you slap on after the fact to fix problems. You know how we often talk about growth first and then figure out how to help the people who are left behind? In this system, justice is the starting point. It's the entire purpose of the economy.
So this list really brings it all home. Look at what's on here. You've got the standard economic stuff like full employment and low inflation, sure. But right alongside it, you have these huge moral duties. Wipe out poverty, make sure wealth gets to those who need it, protect the planet for the future. It's this incredible blend of the practical and the profoundly ethical.
And that leaves us with a really big question, doesn't it? What is an economy for? Is it just about making more money, accumulating more stuff, or is there a deeper purpose? This entire system is built on that second idea, that the goal is a just, stable, and integrated human community. And it kind of makes you step back and think about the goals of our own systems too.